Hey, how's it going, guys? In this video, we have a super fun shootout for you. We have our brand new intern, Josh Blower. He's my cousin, he's a stud, but he's only been shooting for about 5 weeks now. And we gave him access to a $30,000 cinema camera, and we're gonna compare what he can do with that to a 5-year vet in Jake Weisler, who is a professional cinematographer shooting weddings all over the world. And we're giving him this little dinky Canon SL2 that goes for 600 bucks. And we're gonna see if Jake can produce something as good or possibly better than Josh can with a professional cinema camera. So we're gonna give each of them 1 hour to shoot a fan-made commercial for one of our favorite boot companies, and then they're each gonna have a day to edit together a 30-second commercial, and then we'll come back here and see how they compare. Now, Josh has never used a red camera, so we did have somebody on set just helping him know how to navigate it, but besides that, creatively, it's all him. As for Jake, he's just gonna be using this little kit lens and a nifty 50mm compared to Josh's Cinema 18 to 35mm lens. So definitely a lot better gear at Josh's hand, but I always tell you guys, it's not the gear that makes the difference, it's the skills behind the camera, and Jake's gonna prove that he can produce something awesome with just an entry-level camera like a lot of you have. So let's get going.
All right, so we are now here on set filming. We're gonna be shooting our buddy Nate, who is modeling some boots for a company I love. This is a fan-made commercial. They are not paying us to do this. And we're gonna be taking turns shooting in different locations and seeing what we can come up with as creatives, as storytellers, as cinematographers, and then compare our work after we edit together a small 20 to 30-second commercial. And Josh and I are not gonna be shooting together. We don't wanna copy each other's ideas. So when I'm filming, Josh will be offset. When Josh is filming, I'll be offset. So that way, as creatives, as storytellers, we're not influenced by each other. So for this first shot, I'm not really sure what storyline I have yet. I just want to get a lot of good product shots of Nate wearing the boot and also kind of just leaving the lifestyle. I want to show someone looking good in the boot and not just show tons of tights of the boot, if that makes sense. So this is on manual focus as well. The SL2 has autofocus, but I'm using a manual lens, so it's going to be a little difficult. Nate, could you step into the sun for me, dude? I want to see what it looks like. Man, this dynamic range is terrible. Pull my focus, hit record, and I'm going to do as stable as I can. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, shut off. It died on me, hold on. Yeah. Good thing it died because I messed up. I forgot to walk up. And 3, 2, 1, walking away. Cut. I'm shaking so much. This thing's hard to hold. So I want him to like walk through, walking past the glass, and then leaning against the fence up there. And then we're gonna get another shot of his upper body, zooming into like the mountains, and then we're gonna end it. Oh, I need to do that again. Holy crap. This thing's hard to hold. 3, 2, 1, action. Nice and slow. Ooh, one more time, that was beautiful. All right, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I need to redo that was bad. All right. We'll call it a day. All right, we just wrapped shooting. I'm a little nervous to see how my footage turns out. I'm really stoked to see how Josh's footage turns out. We're gonna go back into the office, edit together our commercials, watch them with Parker, and compare the differences. Here we go.
And we are back in the office. They have finished their edits, and we're now going to watch and review and give feedback and see how well they each performed with their respective cameras. So first up, let's check out Josh's 30-second commercial. TAFT. Nice work, Joshua.
Very nice.
I am such a proud cousin right there. That is with 5 weeks of experience. Like I said before that, he would send me iPhone videos, and we'll show you some of those videos that he was shooting just a few weeks ago. Compare that to what he just produced, and he's already come a long way in 5 weeks. We've been training him, mentoring him, helping him grow. So that's better than what, you know, just an actual rookie who's not shot anything ever would produce. So awesome job, Josh. You can see just from having good gear, that does make a difference. Like, you really can produce quality stuff just by having some nice gear, even if you have never used it and don't have a ton of experience. So that's something to keep in mind, that gear does make a difference. It doesn't make all the difference. I don't think it makes most of the difference, but it does make a difference. But let's now watch Jake's, see how that compares with a nice Canon SL2. By the way, that was shot in 6K, and this is gonna be in 1080.
1080p.
So see if you can even tell. Loved it. When he showed me that, I was like, you really shot that in the SL2? I mean, that is a $600 camera, and that is a commercial that could pass and that you could charge thousands of dollars for. And that just testifies to how important it is to have experience. He has 5 years of experience. He's probably put in 10,000 hours. Like I always tell you guys, you gotta put in those hours, those repetitions. I was just telling Josh the other day, I'm like, man, if you wanna be a professional, if you wanna be able to do this full time, you just gotta put in hours. You gotta put in repetitions. And Jake has done that. And so when you throw at him a entry-level camera, he's still able to produce high quality results. Now, what did you guys think of those two, watching them back to back? What were your thoughts?
First off, I had to put a lot in post to make that look even better. I had layers of color correction. I'll show you kind of some of the layers I was adding, some of the sharpening I was adding. I did warp stabilizer to everything because I was shooting handheld. And so a lot went into the post-production side of that to make it look just as good as I possibly can to compete with a red over here. But I think some of the key differences, it's just knowing, like Parker said, just what experience can teach you that gear can't teach you. And that's some shots to get, some angles to get, some depth to create, things like that.
As you can see, like Josh's came quite a ways just by having gear, but what really stood out to me with Jake's is the colors. Josh doesn't have a ton of experience color correcting or color grading, and so his image looked pretty flat. And this is a pretty flat camera, it shoots in RAW, and so if you don't know what you're doing in post, then you really can't manipulate that image and get the most out of it. As far as color grading goes, the colors just popped on this. It just looked more like a professional commercial, whereas this looked like a first draft where we hadn't quite done the color correction yet. And that just comes down to experience, and anybody who would be given a red without knowing how to use it or how to color grade it, that's how anyone's would look. And so Josh did the best he could with what knowledge he had, but that was the biggest thing that stood out to me immediately, were the colors just popped off the screen with Jake's. Another thing was shot selection, like Jake mentioned. Jake just has a lot more experience with creating depth and getting different angles, and you just notice a different level of cinematicness with Jake's shots that he's getting, where he's creating more depth, he's using foreground a little bit better. And as far as the effectiveness of the commercial itself, you notice that Jake is using titles to describe what we're looking at. He focused a little bit better on the boots, whereas Josh is just kind of grabbing shots of his model walking around, and it's not super focused on the boots. And that's something, once you've worked with a ton of brands and done a bunch of product videos, you just start to learn what types of shots your client is gonna like and which ones they throw out and say, I didn't like that one, can you replace that with something else? And Jake's done so many of these, he's gotten that feedback, and he knows, I shouldn't get a shot like that because they're gonna ask for something different. Whereas Josh, he's never shot for a client yet, and so he's just filming whatever he thinks is gonna look good, but doesn't have the perspective of a client. Again, something that just comes with experience. One other thing I noticed was just nailing focus. There's a few shots I noticed where Josh was a little bit out of focus, and again, that just comes down to experience of knowing how to use the camera. So that was one advantage Jake had, was his camera had autofocus, versus this one is all manual. So if you don't know how to use manual focus really well, that becomes a disadvantage. And so these big cinema cameras, as nice as they are, they still have some drawbacks that you guys shooting on some of these cheaper cameras, you gotta realize and take advantage of those. And those can really help you out in areas that someone with a cinema camera might struggle with if they haven't practiced that manual pulling focus. And so as you guys can see, like, this was a fun comparison for us, just to be able to see how much does the gear actually make a difference. And as you can see from that, personally, I thought that you can do just as much professional work as you can with the Red if you know how to use the gear. And that's what we teach inside of Full-Time Filmmaker, the Ultimate Online Film School. Highly recommend you guys checking that out. We have mentors here to help you guys. We have over 400 tutorials that's gonna teach you guys how to get the most out of your cameras. Jake's gonna show you inside the course what kind of picture profiles he's using. He's gonna show you how to color grade. He's gonna show you how to get cinematic angles and all these different things that go into making that what it was versus versus no matter how good of gear you have, it doesn't matter if you have 30 grand. If you don't know how to use it, you're not gonna be able to shoot professionally. As awesome as Josh's was, and as far as he's come in 5 weeks, that's not quite gonna pass as a professional video for a client. They're gonna have a ton of feedback. They're probably gonna ask for a reshoot. And so the gear doesn't make all the difference. It makes a difference, but not enough to be able to do this professionally and to be able to make money. I get a lot of people asking me, like, if I upgraded to a Red, would I automatically be able to charge more for videos? Maybe a little bit more, but mostly no. Mostly people just care about how does the final product look, and they're mostly not gonna care about what you shot it on as long as it looks the way they want to and as long as it showcases their product in the way they were hoping for. So that's pretty much it, guys. Make sure to check out Full-Time Filmmaker if you wanna learn how to take those skills to the next level with the gear you already have. Lastly, make sure to subscribe for more content just like this, and if you have any further questions, please let us know.